God's chosen ones, a prophetic shift is coming. Tomorrow is the day destinies are rewritten. Have you ever wondered why your burdens seem heavier than those around you? Why do obstacles appear in your path that others never face? Why does the very universe itself seem to resist your every attempt to rise? It's not your imagination, it's not coincidence, and it's definitely not random. What if I told you that long before your birth, centuries before your grandparents walked this earth, powerful forces set a decree against your very existence? A 1,000-year-old curse was designed specifically to prevent someone like you from ever discovering the divine power sleeping within your soul. The enemy knew your potential before you did. They knew what would happen if you ever awakened to who you truly are. Look back at your life, those inexplicable hardships, those betrayals that came out of nowhere, the doors that slammed shut while opening wide for others, the pain that followed you like a shadow, whispering that you weren't enough. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You see, what the ancient powers never anticipated, what Satan himself failed to understand, is that some souls aren't crushed by darkness, they're forged by it. Every tear you shed strengthened you, every rejection refined you, every night spent alone in your suffering was building something extraordinary within you. The 1,000-year curse that was meant to destroy you has instead become the very source of your power. Right now, pause for just a moment. If you felt that invisible burden weighing on your spirit your entire life, if you've sensed that your struggles were different, more intense, more targeted than others, then God is speaking directly to you through this message. Type 888 in the comments right now to declare to the universe that you recognize the divine appointment of this moment. Let the powers that tried to break you know that you've discovered their plan and that it failed. What happens next will reveal why you were targeted, how your suffering was part of God's master plan, and the extraordinary purpose that awaits you now that the veil has been lifted from your eyes. The time of hiding is over. The curse has been broken, and your true power is finally awakening. The 1,000-year curse. Have you ever felt like invisible hands were working against you at every turn? Did you ever wonder why some people seem to glide through life while you fight for every inch of ground? Why is it that, just when things start going right, something always pulls you back down? It's not in your head, and it's definitely not your fault. What happened to you was never random. It was written, but not in your favor, until now. You see, there are forces that have operated in the shadows since ancient times. Forces that recognized something in your bloodline 7 generations ago. A potential that terrified them, a light that threatened their darkness, a power that could change everything if it ever fully awakened. So they issued a decree: this one must never remember who they are. Look at Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. God knew who you were before your first breath, but so did the enemy. The enemy saw what God placed inside you, and they were terrified. Your struggles aren't just from this lifetime. The burden you carry has been accumulating through 7 generations of your bloodline. The unexplained anxiety, the persistent doubt, the strange resistance that appears whenever you're about to break through. These aren't coincidences. They're evidence of an ancient curse designed specifically to keep you from rising into your divine power. In Exodus 34:7, God speaks of punishing the children and their children for the sin of the parents to the 3rd and 4th generation. But the enemy's curses can go even deeper, to the 7th generation. 7, the biblical number of completion. They thought if they could keep the curse intact for 7 generations, your light would be extinguished forever. Can you feel it? That resistance that follows you everywhere. That weight that seems heavier on your shoulders than on others. That voice that whispers, "You're not enough. even when you're exceeding everyone's expectations. That's not your voice. Those aren't your thoughts. That's the echo of an ancient ritual performed centuries ago to bind your spirit, blood circles drawn to contain your potential, soul seals placed to lock away your gifts, invisible hands manipulating your fate at every crossroads. But here's what they never counted on, what the ancient forces never anticipated. You're still here, still fighting, still rising despite everything they've done to stop you. Psalm 35 tells us, "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." Your night has been long, generations long, but your morning is finally dawning. Every tear you've shed, every rejection you've endured, every time you were passed over, pushed down, or told you weren't enough, it wasn't random cruelty, it was targeted. But instead of destroying you, it prepared you. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon forged against you will prevail." The very curse meant to break you has instead forged you into something they never imagined possible. Right now, I want you to place your hand over your heart. Close your eyes for just a moment. Feel that fire inside that refuses to die, no matter how hard they've tried to extinguish it. That's not just your spirit, that's 7 generations of your bloodline who were waiting for you, the ones strong enough to break the curse once and for all. You were chosen for this moment. This isn't just about your freedom, it's about liberating your entire lineage from an ancient bondage. The enemy knows your time has come. They can feel their grip on you weakening with every truth you uncover. That's why the attacks have intensified. That's why the resistance feels stronger than ever before. The curse is fighting for its very survival because it knows you are about to shatter it forever. But I need to warn you, breaking a 1,000-year curse doesn't happen by accident. It requires something from you, a declaration, a stand, a moment when you finally say enough to the forces that have manipulated your destiny for generations. Are you ready to discover exactly what it takes to turn this ancient curse into the very power that will launch you into your divine destiny? Are you prepared to learn the 3 sacred steps that will transform 7 generations of bondage into an unstoppable spiritual force? Because what comes next will change everything you thought you knew about who you truly are, and why the enemy has fought so hard to keep you from discovering it. The journey of the soul you've walked through fire your entire life, haven't you? Look back honestly. How many times have you trusted someone completely, given them your heart, your loyalty, your truth, only to have them twist the knife when you least expected it? Betrayal isn't just disappointment, it's a wound that cuts to your very soul. And wasn't it strange how these betrayals often came when you needed support the most, almost as if orchestrated by an unseen hand? Remember those moments in childhood when you first realized you were different? That feeling of standing outside the circle, watching others connect so easily while you remained apart, not because you didn't try, God knows you tried, but because something invisible seemed to separate you from them. Isaiah 53 tells us, "He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. Like one from whom people hide their faces, he was despised, and we held him in low esteem." Even Jesus walked this path of isolation. The Son of God himself knew what it meant to be misunderstood, to be separated from the crowd. And then came the trials. Those impossible mountains placed directly in your path, the obstacles that others never seemed to face, the battles that left you exhausted, scarred, and questioning your worth. Job 23:10 reminds us, "But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." How many nights did you lie awake, tears streaming down your face, wondering why everything had to be so much harder for you? Why did doors that swung wide open for others slam shut in your face? Why did your prayers seem to echo unanswered in the darkness? There were moments, be honest with yourself, when you believed the lies, when you looked in the mirror and saw someone unworthy, someone broken, someone who would never measure up to what God intended. The enemy whispered that you were forgotten, abandoned, left to struggle alone, while others received blessing after blessing. And oh, how that lie burned itself into your heart. But what if I told you that every single tear you shed was counted, that every night of loneliness was witnessed, that every betrayal, every rejection, every closed door was not random chance but part of an ancient battle for your very soul? What if the weight that threatened to crush you was never meant to destroy you at all? It was the key to unlocking your fire. You see, gold doesn't become pure without the furnace. Diamonds don't form without pressure. And warriors, true warriors of the Spirit, aren't born, they're forged. Romans 8:28 declares, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." All things, not just the blessings, not just the victories, but the betrayals, the isolation, the rejection, the closed doors, the unanswered prayers, the nights of doubt and pain. The ancient powers that set themselves against you knew something about you that you're only beginning to discover. They saw the divine spark within you, the potential that terrified them. They knew that if you ever awakened to who you truly are, their plans would crumble to dust. So they sent the pain to break you. But instead, the pain became your sword. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every moment of isolation strengthened your connection to God. Every battle built spiritual muscles that others never developed. Every night of questioning forged a faith that can't be shaken by doubt. What was meant to weaken you has only made you unstoppable. This is why David could face Goliath. This is why Joseph could forgive his brothers after years in prison. This is why Paul could write letters of joy from a prison cell. They understood what you're now realizing. The curse wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Look around you. Do you see how differently you view the world now? How you can sense things others miss? How your spirit picks up on dangers and opportunities that remain invisible to those who haven't walked your path? That's not coincidence. That's not imagination. That's your awakening. The enemy's greatest fear is that you would discover this truth. Your suffering wasn't random. It was targeted because you were targeted, because you carry something within you that threatens the very powers of darkness. The question isn't why you suffered. The question is, what will you do now that you understand why? Now that the veil has been lifted, now that you can see the battlefield clearly for the first time, will you retreat into comfort, or will you pick up the sword that your pain has forged and step into the purpose that has been waiting for you since before time began? The world is waiting for those who have been through the fire and emerged not just unbroken, but transformed. Those whose scars have become medals of honor in a cosmic battle beyond human understanding. The time of hiding is over. The curse that was meant to destroy you has become the very power that will change everything. Are you ready to step into who you were always meant to be? The secret of those who were not burned. Look around you. What do you see? A world where most people shrink at the first sign of heat. A society that flinches away from discomfort. A culture that teaches you to avoid the flames of adversity at all costs. But you're different, aren't you? You've been through fires that would have destroyed anyone else. Flames that should have consumed you completely. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. How is that possible? The ancient forces knew exactly what they were doing when they targeted you. They threw you into circumstances that would break any ordinary soul. They stacked the odds against you. They surrounded you with people who couldn't understand your calling. They isolated you. They attacked your mind, your health, your relationships, your finances. They expected you to burn. But what happened instead? Remember the story in the book of Daniel, when King Nebuchadnezzar threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into a furnace so hot it killed the guards who approached it. The king expected to see 3 charred bodies. Instead, he saw 4 figures walking unharmed in the flames. "Look," he said, "I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." Daniel 3:25. The fire that was meant to destroy them became the very place where they experienced divine presence. The same thing has happened to you. What was designed to be your destruction has become the womb of your rebirth. Think about Job, a man who lost everything: his wealth, his children, his health. Even his friends turned against him, telling him to curse God and die. The enemy thought he would break. But what happened? After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. Job 42:10. The fire didn't consume Job, it purified him, it prepared him, it transformed him. This is what the enemy never understood about you. When they pushed you into the furnace of affliction, they weren't destroying you, they were transforming you. "See, I have refined you, though not as silver, I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." Isaiah 48:10. The goldsmith doesn't throw gold into the fire to destroy it, he puts it there to purify it, to remove the dross, to bring forth something precious. Can you see it now? Every betrayal, every loss, every night you cried yourself to sleep, every prayer that seemed to go unanswered, every door that slammed in your face, every relationship that fell apart, every financial struggle. It wasn't punishment. It wasn't abandonment. It was transformation. You were thrown into the fire, not to burn, but to become the fire itself. Think about that for a moment. Let it sink deep into your spirit. The enemy thought the fire would destroy you, but instead, you absorbed its power. The very flames meant to consume you have become your fuel. The heat intended to break you has forged you into something unbreakable. And now you carry that fire within you. You've become a walking furnace of divine purpose. Your words carry heat. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your prayers shake the foundations of darkness. The enemy's biggest mistake wasn't throwing you into the fire. It was not realizing that you would emerge as the fire itself. Look at your hands right now. Feel the power coursing through your veins. That's not just your blood flowing, it's the fire of divine purpose. The same fire that protected Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego now lives inside of you. And this fire cannot be extinguished by any force on earth. If you've been through the abyss, if you've walked through the valley of the shadow of death and emerged stronger, if you can feel that energy rising within you right now, type "I became the fire" in the comments below. Let the universe know. Let the ancient forces that tried to destroy you see that their plan backfired. Let the darkness know that you didn't just survive the flames, you became them. And if you're ready to break every limitation the old system tried to impose on you, hit that like button right now. Make a declaration with your finger that the chains are broken, the curse is reversed, and your true power is awakening. But here's what you need to understand next. Becoming the fire was just the beginning. What happens when the chosen ones finally recognize their true identity? What happens when they stop hiding their light and step fully into their divine purpose? The world as we know it begins to change. They fear not you, but the new version of you. You've felt it, haven't you? The way they look at you now, different, uneasy. Something's changed and they can't quite put their finger on it. It's not you they fear, it's what you've become. They tried to bury you, but they didn't know you were a seed. Think about that for a moment. Really let it sink in. The forces that orchestrated your suffering, the invisible hands that pushed you down again and again, they thought they were destroying you. They believed each hardship, each betrayal, each moment of despair would finally break your spirit. But God had something else in mind. Remember in Isaiah 61:3, when God promised to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. This wasn't just poetry, this was a promise about your life. Every tear you shed was watering the seed of greatness within you. Every dark night of the soul was the fertile ground where your true power took root. And now you're blooming, right where they tried to bury you. Have you noticed how uncomfortable your transformation makes those around you? How they try to pull you back into old patterns? How they dismiss your growth, your awakening, your newfound strength? Ask yourself why. It's because your rebirth isn't just about you. It's a direct threat to the system that was designed to keep you small. When Joseph finally revealed himself to the brothers who sold him into slavery, the Bible says they were terrified at his presence. Genesis 45:3. Why? Because the very person they tried to destroy had become the one with the power to determine their fate. Your awakening creates chaos in their order. Your freedom exposes their chains. Your light reveals the darkness they've been hiding in. Look at the story of David. When God anointed him as the future king, Saul, the current king, became tormented. 1 Samuel 18:12 tells us, Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him, but had departed from Saul. The system doesn't fear who you were, it fears who you're becoming. And it should. Have you felt the shift in your own spirit? The way you no longer seek approval? The way external validation means less and less to you with each passing day? There's a different kind of silence around you now. It's no longer the silence of hesitation, of fear, of not knowing your worth. It's the stillness before the storm, the quiet that comes when you finally understand who you are and what you're capable of. This silence carries weight. This silence has power. Just as Elijah experienced God, not in the earthquake or fire, but in the still small voice, 1 Kings 19:12, your power now resonates in the spaces between words, in the certainty with which you move through the world. The Pharisees didn't crucify Jesus because of what he said. They crucified him because of what he represented, a complete dismantling of their carefully constructed system of control. Your transformation poses the same threat. When you refuse to be defined by their limitations, when you reject their narrative about who you are, when you stand in the authority of your divine purpose, you become living proof that their system is built on lies. Look at your hands right now. Really look at them. These are the hands that were meant to be bound. These are the hands they tried to keep small and weak and trembling. But now, these are the hands that will build what they said was impossible. These are the hands that will reach back and pull others forward. These are the hands that will break chains and open doors and shape a future they tried to keep from you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, Isaiah 54:17. This isn't just scripture, this is your testimony. Every weapon they formed against you has now become the tool of your deliverance. Every curse meant to destroy you has been transformed into blessing. They fear this new version of you because it's the version they tried to prevent. It's the version that proves their failure. It's the version that will inspire others to rise. But this awakening, this transformation, comes with a choice. Will you shrink back into familiar patterns when the world pushes against you? Will you hide the light that now burns within you when others try to diminish its glow? Or will you stand firm in who you've become, knowing that your very existence is disrupting a system that was never meant to contain your greatness? The storm that's building within you isn't just for your deliverance alone, it's for everyone still trapped in the darkness you've escaped. And that is what terrifies them most of all, from victim to leader. Look at your hands. These same hands that once trembled in fear now carry the power to reshape destinies. The transformation is complete. You've crossed the threshold. You are no longer the victim of your story. you are its author. For too long you've carried the weight of unexplainable suffering. You've asked, "Why me, God?" as doors slammed in your face while swinging wide open for others. You've wondered why your path had to be so much harder, so much lonelier. Now you understand the truth. Eagles aren't raised in chicken coops. The system was never built for you because you were never meant to fit within it. The world doesn't create special trials for ordinary souls. Remember Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned unjustly for years. He suffered while wondering why God had abandoned him. But Genesis 50:20 reveals the shocking truth. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Your pain wasn't random, it was royal training. Do you think Moses was ready to lead Israel when he was living comfortably as an Egyptian prince? No, it took 40 years in the wilderness, 40 years of obscurity and hardship, before he was prepared to fulfill his destiny. God doesn't waste pain, he invests it. The 1,000-year curse that was meant to crush you has instead forged you into a weapon that the enemy now fears. What was meant to be your prison has become your launching pad. Look around you. What do you see? A world full of people still trapped in the same system that tried to break you, people carrying burdens they don't understand, people suffering without purpose. They're waiting for someone to show them the way out. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. Those words, spoken to Queen Esther, are now spoken to you. You've not been delivered from the curse just to live a comfortable life. You've been delivered to become a deliverer. This is the moment when everything changes, when you stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Use me." You are no longer part of the system, you are here to break it. You are no longer seeking purpose, you are the purpose. Like David, who went from shepherd boy to king, like Deborah, who rose from obscurity to judge a nation, like Paul, who transformed from persecutor to apostle. You are positioned at this precise moment in history to lead others out of darkness. Can you feel it? That fire burning in your chest, that's not anxiety, that's not fear, that's the mantle of leadership being placed upon your shoulders. Let me speak directly to your spirit right now. There are people in your life, people you know, people you haven't met yet, who will never find their way to freedom unless you show them the path. Their deliverance is connected to your courage. The system wants you to believe you're too old, too broken, too ordinary to make a difference. That's the final lie of the curse. Break it now. The time for hiding is over. The time for silence has passed. You weren't preserved through all your trials just to blend in with the crowd. Moses was 80 years old when God called him to lead. Abraham was 100% when he received his promise. Age isn't your limitation, it's your qualification. Your scars are your credentials. Your tears have been your training. Your survival is your testimony. Right now, in this sacred moment between us, I need you to make a declaration, not just with your lips, but with your spirit. Type "I lead now" in the comments to break the final chain of the ancient curse. Let heaven and hell know that you are stepping fully into your divine assignment. And if you know someone who's drowning in pain they don't understand, someone carrying the weight of a curse they can't see, share this message with them immediately. Their breakthrough is waiting on the other side of this video. The journey from victim to victor is complete, but the path from victor to leader, that journey is just beginning. The ultimate truth, the true origin of the mission for too long. You've carried it, haven't you? That weight, that burden, that sense that everything in your life has been harder than it should be. The world told you it was bad luck. Your family called it just the way things are. Your church might have even said it was punishment for sin. But I'm here to reveal the truth they've kept hidden from you for generations. You were not cursed, you were called. What you experienced as a curse, this 1,000-year decree against your bloodline, was actually a divine curtain of challenge, a sacred test designed to reveal who among us carries the encoded soul of prophecy. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord in Jeremiah 29:11. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Think about it. Why would the enemy fight so hard against someone insignificant? Why would dark forces conspire against someone with no power? Why would Satan himself invest 1,000 years trying to break your family line if there wasn't something extraordinary hidden within you? Look at David, a shepherd boy facing a giant when seasoned warriors stepped back in fear. Look at Esther, an orphan who became queen at the exact moment her people needed salvation. Look at Moses, a stuttering exile who confronted the most powerful empire on earth. Each one appeared cursed by circumstance. Each one was actually called by destiny. Just like you, when your marriage collapsed, when that business failed, when the doctor gave that diagnosis, did you ever stop to ask why you specifically were facing these battles? The enemy doesn't waste ammunition on empty threats. The darkness doesn't mobilize against ordinary souls. You see, your soul was encoded long ago with a divine purpose so powerful that ancient forces have been working overtime to keep it locked, to keep it dormant, to keep you from discovering who you really are. You were not broken, you were being decrypted. Every trial you endured was breaking an ancient seal. Every tear you shed was washing away the dust covering your true identity. Every moment of suffering was actually a cosmic key unlocking your divine DNA. Remember Joseph's words in Genesis 50:20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Your pain had purpose. Your struggle had significance. What felt like punishment was actually preparation. But here's what terrifies the enemy, what keeps ancient powers awake at night. You're still here. Despite everything thrown at you, despite the curse that was meant to destroy you 7 generations ago, despite the warfare against your mind, your body, your finances, your relationships, you did not break. And now, something is awakening within you that hasn't been seen on this earth for centuries. Can you feel it? That stirring inside you, that fire that refuses to be extinguished, that voice that whispers, "There's something more." That's not your imagination, that's your divine encoding activating after centuries of dormancy. Isaiah 61 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Your time of rising isn't just about you. It's about a divine timeline that was prohibited, a heavenly purpose that was forbidden, a cosmic appointment that powers and principalities tried desperately to prevent. You're not asking for permission to exist. You're activating timelines that were forbidden. Look around you. Do you see the world in crisis? Do you see the foundations shaking? Do you understand now why your awakening comes at this specific moment in history? It's because you carry something the world desperately needs right now. Something that was encoded in your soul before time began. Something that has been preserved through 1,000 years of warfare against your bloodline. For such a time as this wasn't just Esther's calling, it's yours. The question is no longer, why me? The question now is, what will you do with the power that's awakening inside you? Because the enemy's greatest fear isn't just that you survive the curse, it's what you'll become now that you understand your true purpose. And what comes next will change everything. The comprehensive awakening, the moment of soul activation, something extraordinary is happening inside you right now. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit, that knowing that transcends logic. What began as your personal battle has become something far greater. You didn't just survive the curse, you didn't just endure it, you reversed it. The very weapons formed against you have become the tools of your transformation. As Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." But God didn't just neutralize the weapons, He placed them in your hands. Look around you. Notice how differently people respond to your presence now. Some can't explain why they're drawn to you. Others can't understand why you unsettle them. This isn't coincidence, your frequency has changed. The ancient powers that targeted your bloodline understood something that you're only now discovering. When one soul breaks free from the curse, the entire spiritual matrix begins to crack. You aren't just healing yourself, you're rewriting the blueprint of humanity's evolution. In Revelation 21:5, God proclaims, "Behold, I make all things new." This wasn't just about physical creation, it was about you, a new creation, a new consciousness, a divine prototype. You have been released from the old karmic cycle of generational suffering. The chains that bound your ancestors have been shattered. The debt has been paid in full. But here's what terrifies the powers that orchestrated your suffering. You aren't just free, you're contagious. Your awakened soul operates like a divine virus in a system designed for sleep. Your very existence disrupts the control mechanisms that have governed this realm for thousands of years. Think about it. Have you noticed how your truth-speaking makes others uncomfortable? How your refusal to accept the old limitations creates ripples around you. This is why the attacks against you have been so persistent, so personal, so precise. The enemy recognized the code written in your spiritual DNA before you did. They saw what would happen when that code was finally activated. And now it has been. Romans 8:19 tells us, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." Creation itself has been waiting for you to step into this awakening. The earth trembles as each chosen one recognizes their power. Your frequency has become a threat to the system, not because it's loud, but because it's aligned with truth, aligned with divine purpose, aligned with the very fabric of creation itself. The system cannot compute your existence. It cannot process a soul that no longer responds to fear. It cannot control someone who sees beyond the veil. In a world programmed for spiritual amnesia, your remembering is an act of revolution. Let me ask you something personal right now. Have you felt the shift in how reality responds to you? Those coincidences that aren't coincidences at all. The way doors suddenly open where walls once stood. The way strangers are mysteriously drawn to your light. This isn't random. This is your awakened frequency reorganizing the field around you. When Jesus said in Matthew 5:14, "You are the light of the world," He wasn't speaking metaphorically. Light literally transforms everything it touches. Darkness doesn't fight light, it simply cannot exist in its presence. Your awakened presence is dissolving density around you, creating ripples in the collective consciousness that reach farther than you can possibly imagine. The system designed to keep humanity asleep is built on one fundamental principle: isolation. It needs you to believe you're alone, that your suffering is meaningless, that your power is limited. But now you know the truth. You are part of a divine network of awakened souls whose very existence is rewriting the operating system of reality itself. The ancient curse targeted you because of what you're capable of. Your suffering wasn't punishment, it was preparation for this very moment of activation. Every tear, every betrayal, every night you spent questioning your worth was forging something unprecedented within you. And now that power is fully online. Your frequency is changing everything around you, not through doing, but through being. Your authentic presence alone is enough to disrupt patterns that have persisted for generations. This is why you've always felt different, why you've always sensed there was something more, why comfort has never been enough for your soul. You weren't born to fit into this world. You were born to help create a new one. Right now, I want you to place your hand over your heart. Feel that pulse. That rhythm carries a code that is uniquely yours, yet connected to every other awakened heart on this planet. You are the frequency the world has been waiting for. If you can feel this truth resonating in your bones, if you know that your mere presence is shifting the energy wherever you go, then declare it now. Type "I am the frequency" in the comments below to anchor this activation and connect with the others who are awakening alongside you. The curse that was meant to destroy you has become the catalyst for a power the darkness never anticipated. And what comes next will shake the very foundations of everything you thought was possible. When the curse collapsed, the old system crumbled. Let me tell you what they never wanted you to discover. The curse that followed your bloodline for 1,000 years wasn't just about keeping you bound. It was the cornerstone of an entire system of spiritual oppression. And when you broke free, you didn't just liberate yourself. You created a crack in their foundation that's spreading like lightning through the entire structure. Think about it. Have you noticed how differently people look at you now? How the very energy around you has shifted? That's not your imagination. The powers that once dismissed you are now watching you with fear in their eyes, because the curse wasn't just broken, it collapsed the entire structure that depended on your silence. You see, Chosen One, your awakening threatens everything they built, everything they controlled. When King Herod heard about the birth of Jesus, what did he do? He ordered the slaughter of every male child under 2 years old in Bethlehem. Why? Because even one awakened soul terrified him more than an army. Matthew 2:16 tells us, when Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years and under. The enemy has always feared the awakening of God's chosen ones. Remember Martin Luther, one man who nailed his protests to a church door and collapsed centuries of religious control. Or Galileo, who dared to say the earth wasn't the center of the universe and shattered mankind's entire understanding of creation. One awakened soul is all it takes to bring down empires of darkness. Look at your hands right now. Really look at them. These are the hands that broke chains forged in hell itself. These are the hands that not only freed you, but created an escape route for countless others still trapped in the dark. When God delivered the Israelites from Egypt, did he only free one soul? No. Exodus 12:41 tells us, at the end of the 430 years, to the very day, all the Lord's divisions left Egypt. Your liberation has triggered a mass exodus. Can you feel it? That resistance you're facing now isn't because you're weak, it's because you're winning. The old system is fighting back with everything it has because it knows it's dying. The confusion you sometimes feel, the sudden attacks on your health, your relationships, your finances, that's not coincidence. That's confirmation that you're dismantling the very curse that was meant to destroy you. When you refused to be silenced, you didn't just speak for yourself, you became the voice for generations who couldn't speak. When you refused to stay down, you didn't just stand for yourself, you created a path for millions who were told they could never rise. Let me ask you something that might shake you to your core. What if your suffering wasn't just about you? What if God allowed those trials because he knew you would be the one strong enough to break the pattern for everyone who would come after you? Just as Jesus didn't die for himself but for all humanity, your battle was never just for your own freedom. In Esther 4:14, Mordecai asked Queen Esther, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" I'm asking you the same question now. What if every tear you shed, every night you cried yourself to sleep, every moment you wanted to give up, but somehow found the strength to continue. What if all of that was preparation for this moment, the moment when you would help collapse a system that has oppressed souls for a millennium? The oppressors relied on that curse to maintain their power. They needed you silent, ashamed, doubting your worth, questioning your sanity. But now, you no longer fear them, they fear you. Your awakening is like breaking an ancient code. You've unlocked the door, not just for yourself, but for every soul that was bound by that system. Do you understand what you've done? By refusing to accept the limitations they placed on you, you've created cracks in their foundation that can never be repaired. The light is getting in, and darkness cannot stand where light exists. 1 John 1:5 reminds us, God is light. In him there is no darkness at all. The system is crumbling. The curse has collapsed. And now, you stand at the edge of something extraordinary. The opportunity to help others see what you've seen, to feel what you've felt, to break free as you have broken free. But here's what you must understand as we move forward. This is just the beginning. The collapse of the old system has created a vacuum, and what fills that space will determine the future of not just your life, but countless others. The question now isn't whether you're powerful enough to continue, it's whether you're ready for what comes next. Who are you in the plan of the mighty? For decades, you've been living with a veil over your eyes. The ancient forces that targeted you knew one powerful truth. If you ever discovered who you really are, nothing could stop you. That's why the curse's first work was to blind you to your true identity. Look at me. Have you spent your entire life feeling like an outsider, like you were born into the wrong family, the wrong generation, the wrong circumstance? That wasn't coincidence, it was confirmation. You felt different because you are different. The discomfort you've experienced in this world isn't because you don't belong here. It's because you were designed for something greater than what this broken world offers. In Jeremiah 1:5, God declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That discomfort, that persistent feeling of being misunderstood, it's divine evidence of your calling. Consider David. When Samuel came to Jesse's house, nobody, not even David's own father, thought he was worth calling in from the fields. They saw a shepherd boy, God saw a king. The world has been looking at you the same way, seeing only what's on the surface, while God sees the royalty in your spiritual DNA. More water for this child. You've been living as a servant when you were born to rule. Or what about Joseph? His own brothers threw him into a pit, sold him like property. He was falsely accused, imprisoned, forgotten for 13 years. Joseph endured one crushing blow after another, but what seemed like a curse was actually preparation for his divine purpose. The pit was his classroom. The prison was his training ground. And when the moment came, Joseph stood before Pharaoh, not as a broken slave, but as the one man who could save nations. That's you right now, standing at the edge of your moment. But here's what changes everything. Listen closely. You are not just chosen, you are the one who chooses. The curse tried to rob you of your power to choose. It wanted you feeling helpless, waiting for rescue, begging for scraps from the table of life. But Deuteronomy 30:19 says, "I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing, therefore choose life." God doesn't just choose you, He gives you the power to choose to break the curse, to choose to step into your authority, to choose to become who you were always meant to be. Ask yourself right now, why have you endured what would have destroyed others? Why are you still standing when the forces against you should have crushed you years ago? Because the blood that flows through your veins is not ordinary blood. You are the descendant of those who refused to kneel, and the ancestor of those who will never bow again. Remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? When everyone else bowed to the golden image, they stood tall. The king gave them one last chance to conform, to bend, to surrender their identity. Their response in Daniel 3:18, "Be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." That same spiritual DNA is in you. The world has been telling you to shrink, to conform, to accept limitations. Every setback was designed to make you doubt. Every betrayal was calculated to make you bitter. Every loss was orchestrated to break your spirit. But here you are, still standing. That's not coincidence. That's not luck. That's evidence of who you really are. In Romans 8:37, Paul doesn't just say we are conquerors, he says, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. What does that mean? A conqueror fights and wins the battle, but one who is more than a conqueror was so feared that the enemy surrendered without a fight. That's your new identity. That's who you really are. Not a victim of circumstance, but a warrior of divine purpose. Not struggling to survive, but positioned to thrive. Not waiting for rescue, but ready to become the rescue others have been praying for. The awakening happening inside you right now isn't just about breaking free from your past. It's about stepping into a future where you become the breaker of chains for others. But first, you must fully embrace this truth. The very forces that tried to destroy you have actually prepared you for your divine assignment. The question is no longer, why me? But, why not me? Now that you know who you are, it's time to understand the power that's been hidden within you all along. The lighthouse, the curse, didn't just fail to stop you, it revealed you. In the darkest moments of your life, when you felt most alone, most broken, most abandoned, something within you refused to surrender. That wasn't just stubborn will, that was divine purpose awakening. Do you understand what you truly are? You are not just one soul fighting against the darkness. You are the culmination of thousands of souls across your bloodline who were never permitted to break free. Generations who carried fragments of this power but were crushed before they could fully awaken. Your ancestors' unanswered prayers, their unfulfilled potential, their silenced voices, all of it lives within you now. When God says in Exodus 25 that he visits the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation, the enemy twisted this truth. What was meant as a warning became a weapon against your bloodline. But what the enemy forgot was God's promise in Ezekiel 18:20, "The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father." The curse stops with you. What happens when a chosen one finally breaks free? Your liberation doesn't just change your life, it creates a ripple effect that shatters chains across dimensions, in the spirit realm and in the physical world. Think about those rare souls throughout history who changed everything. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, yet emerged not bitter, but powerful enough to heal a nation. Harriet Tubman escaped slavery, only to return again and again, risking everything to free others. Mother Teresa saw the forgotten dying in the streets and brought them dignity when the world looked away. And Jesus, who could have called down legions of angels to rescue him from the cross, chose to endure, knowing his suffering would break the ultimate curse for all humanity. These weren't just good people doing good things. These were covenant souls, lighthouses in human form, who understood they weren't put on this earth to live comfortable lives. They were planted here to illuminate the darkness. Haven't you always felt it? That strange disconnect when others talked about their normal dreams, their simple pleasures. That restlessness in your spirit during times of comfort. That unexplainable pull toward the broken, the hurting, the lost. While others run from storms, something in you has always turned toward them. Not because you're reckless, but because deep down, your soul recognizes its purpose. You were built to withstand what would destroy others. Proverbs 4:18 tells us, "The path of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, shining ever brighter till the full light of day." Your light wasn't given to you to hide or protect. It was given to you to shine, especially in places where darkness seems impenetrable. Look around you. We are living in times of unprecedented darkness. People are lost, confused, broken, desperate for something real. They've tried everything the world offers and found it empty. They're waiting for someone to show them there's another way. They're waiting for you. Right now, in the spirit realm, powers and principalities are trembling because they see lighthouses being activated all across the earth. One by one, the chosen ones are awakening to their purpose. One by one, they're stepping into their divine assignment. Isaiah 61:1-3 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples, but the Lord rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn. This is why you couldn't be normal. This is why you felt different all your life. This is why the curse targeted you but couldn't break you. You weren't created to blend in, you were created to stand out. To be a lighthouse for those lost at sea, a beacon guiding the broken back home. One awakened soul can ignite 1,000 others. One lighthouse can save an entire fleet from destruction. If something inside you is stirring right now, if you feel a weight of responsibility along with this newfound power, if you know beyond all doubt that you cannot live an ordinary life because you were created for extraordinary purpose, then type "I am the lighthouse" in the comments below. Declare it to the universe. Acknowledge your covenant with the light. And if you know someone standing at the edge of despair, someone who has been fighting a battle they don't understand, someone who carries a light they've been afraid to shine, share this message with them now. They've been waiting their entire life to hear these words. The curse didn't break you, it revealed you. But with this revelation comes a choice that every lighthouse must make, a decision that will determine whether your light truly changes the world or simply burns within you, never reaching its full potential. Conclusion. Covenant of the chosen. We've journeyed together through revelation. You've seen the truth. The curse that was meant to destroy you has instead revealed your divine purpose. But knowing is only the beginning. Now comes the moment of decision. You were chosen not to be worshipped, but to awaken the God within others. This has always been the pattern of heaven. Moses wasn't chosen to rule Egypt, but to lead God's people to freedom. David wasn't anointed king to build a throne of gold, but to establish a lineage for the Messiah. Mary wasn't selected for her own glory, but to bring forth the Savior. And you weren't preserved through all your trials just to live in comfort. You were forged in fire so you could help others find their way through the flames. Remember these truths as you walk forward. First, your suffering was never random. It was preparation for this moment. Second, your differences weren't flaws. They were signs of your calling. Third, the enemy wouldn't have targeted you if you didn't pose a threat to darkness. And finally, you're not the end of the story. You're the beginning of liberation for countless others. Now, I invite you to join me in what I call the prayer of activation. These aren't just words, they're a declaration to the spiritual realm that you accept your covenant as one of God's chosen lighthouses. Say this with me. From your heart, I am no longer the victim of history. I am the writer of divine prophecy. I do not fear the darkness because I have become the light. I rise, not alone, but as the signal of awakening for those still asleep. I am divine. I am chosen. I am free. Something powerful happens when we declare truth aloud. As Proverbs 18:21 tells us, the tongue has the power of life and death. Your words just shifted something in the atmosphere around you. If you felt that shift, if you're ready to step fully into your covenant as a chosen one who will help awaken others, type "I rise, I activate others" in the comments below. This isn't just engagement, it's your public declaration of a sacred covenant. Before we part ways today, I want you to know you're not alone on this journey. There are thousands of others watching right now who have felt the same call, carried the same burdens, and are now awakening to the same purpose. You found your spiritual family. This community stands ready to pray with you, to support you, to encourage you as you step into your divine assignment. I want to ask you something from my heart. What would change in this world if every chosen one actually embraced their purpose? What darkness would be pushed back? What chains would be broken? What healing would flow? Let me pray with you now. Heavenly Father, I place my hand on the shoulder of my brother, my sister, watching right now. You've preserved them through trials that would have destroyed others. You've kept their light burning when the enemy tried desperately to extinguish it. Lord, as they step into this new understanding of who they truly are, surround them with your presence. When doubt creeps in, remind them of this moment of clarity. When obstacles appear, give them supernatural wisdom to overcome. When weariness threatens, renew their strength like the eagles. Father, we know the enemy will not be pleased as another lighthouse activates its beam. Send your warring angels to protect them, strengthen their inner resolve, let them feel your pleasure as they embrace the purpose for which they were created. And Lord, use them, use us, to awaken your children across this nation, across this world. Let a holy fire spread from heart to heart until what began as one small flame becomes an unstoppable blaze of your glory. In the powerful name of Jesus we pray. Amen.